Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us on this Five9 software webinar about the top Hyper-V management and security optimizations from Five9. I'm Symon Perriman, VP of Business Development, and I'm going to be joined by Alex Karavanov, our Director of Solutions Engineering. What we're going to be focusing on as part of this session are really the key improvements around Hyper-V management and Hyper-V security that we've been introducing to our solutions. We're going to first give you an update about the overall company, focus on cloud security, management, finally our V2V easy converter. Now for those of you that don't know us already, Five9 was founded back in 2009, right after Hyper-V was first introduced. And Five9 exclusively builds products for Hyper-V. Unlike other security or management products out there, we haven't gone and built an all-purpose solution and tried to adapt it to work with Hyper-V. We've been building from Hyper-V from the ground up, with myself actually coming from the Hyper-V engineering team, having spent 8 years at Microsoft. So we have a lot of great in-house expertise. We are headquartered in Chicago, growing fast worldwide, and now have about 100,000 Hyper-V users across the security, management, and VMware conversion product, which also includes 17 Microsoft MVPs, which we're very excited to be partnering with. As I mentioned, we are headquartered in Chicago in the United States, but over the past year we've been focusing extensively on expanding throughout Europe, Asia Pacific, and this year we'll be continuing to focus our expansion throughout Europe, Asia Pacific, and also Latin America. Partnerships have been a great way that we've added additional value to our customers, and we have strong partnerships with a variety of security vendors, hardware partners, and software ISV solutions as well. One of the latest enhancements that we've added and made available to our customers for free are virtual labs. If you go to the Five9 website, browse the resources, you'll get access to your very own exclusive testing environment, where we'll spin up a collection of virtual machines for you for either Five9 Cloud Security or Five9 Manager, and give you an entirely isolated live environment for you to go and test things out. If you just want to explore the products free-form, you have the ability to click around, perform your own tasks, and we also include step-by-step scenarios, which is a great way for you to really familiarize yourself with the product, or even train yourself if you're already an existing customer, to understand some of the additional functionality, a lot of which we'll be talking about today. So I definitely encourage you to check out the virtual labs. So first, a quick introduction for those of you that may not be familiar. But this is a security solution which is designed for virtualization. What we've basically done is put together a variety of different tools from other third parties and made them work great for Hyper-V. This includes firewall, antivirus, intrusion detection, network anomaly analysis. And the way that we do things, which is slightly different, is we do not require anything to run inside the virtual machine itself. This is one of our big strengths and one of the benefits of moving to an agentless security model. The way we manage our security is we actually intercept the threat before it arrives at the virtual machine. So if you think about any type of network packet that could contain a virus, it goes through the Hyper-V host, through the virtual switch, and then finally up to the virtual machines. And all of Five9 security logic resides on this virtual switch level. We've plugged in our own drivers, and this gives us the ability to actually intercept the network packets and say whether they're safe or not before that network packet even gets to the virtual machine. So all of the firewall policies, traffic analytics, antivirus scans, that's all done on the host level. So simplifying management. So the big benefits for you by not having this requirement to install agents is you can have better protection and separation, where the admin does not have to touch the tenant's virtual machines. You also have centralized management, centralized updating. And what you're really doing is removing that burden from the end user of having to go and manage the security themselves. So the first layer of security we do is protection at the host level, intercepting these packets and saying, are they even allowed to pass through the host? And we'll be talking a lot more about host protection in a moment, as this has been one of our recent set of enhancements. We then do automatic protection for the virtual machines and the networks, so any newly deployed VM is automatically and immediately protected. We then have a firewall on the virtual switch, which intercepts and inspects the packets. If it's allowed through the firewall, we're then going to do antivirus detection on the network, where we'll actually mirror the port and go and open up that network packet and inspect it for viruses. Once the files are written to the disk, we continue to scan that disk, make sure that it's healthy, and any newly identified viruses that you may have downloaded in the past are picked up as well. Now, as we're doing all of these network logging over time, we start to build up our own database of usual network traffic behavior. And we can send all these event logs from all of our inbound and outbound network packets to Cisco Snort, which does analytics on them and tries to find unusual behavior in the data center. But we don't just leverage third-party network analytics tools. We have our own custom heuristics as well, which is going to go build a baseline for your normal data center traffic and let you know if there's anomalies. And finally, we give you the ability to go and extend this into many third-party analytics systems, including things like Microsoft OMS, Azure Operational Insights, Splunk, and much more. So let's jump into the enhancements on 5.9 Cloud Security now that we've provided a basic overview. The first set of enhancements that we've added in the last couple of releases have been around improving the management. We wanted to centralize all of the notifications into a single location. So if you see this image in the upper right corner, this is a new add-on that's now available in Cloud Security that will go and pull all of these different types of alerts from all of your system into a single location. Now, after you have that, we've also improved all of our security filtering, the different logging, and the reporting. So you have much more granular ability to go and sort your information based on users, IP addresses, protocols, time of day, inbound, outbound, and a lot more. So this makes it much easier for you to trace and identify a problem. We've done a lot of improvements around system integrity as well to make sure that 5.9 itself doesn't get tampered with and information isn't being spoofed. And Alex is going to talk a little more about that during our demo coming up shortly. 5.9 Cloud Security also has its own PowerShell provider. This is something that we're continuing to enhance, trying to make this as close to parity as possible with our graphical user interface. And this has been a big request from our customers because as we find in larger and larger customers, they have this desire for greater levels of automation, especially using it in these cloud environments. And so ensuring that we have great PowerShell support to enable that automation has and will continue to be a focus point for our engineering team. And last but not least, we are now supporting Windows 10 Client with this. We will be talking about how we're going to be supporting Windows Server 2016 and Nano Server shortly as well. But those are certainly on the roadmap and they will be supported before launch. Firewall, as you probably know, is one of the key areas of 5.9 Cloud Security as well, and we spend a lot of time improving this. The biggest feature we've added is around deep packet inspection. And Alex will go into this in more detail, but essentially what deep packet inspection does is it allows us to read the payload within a network packet. So a network packet, that's what's actually going to be contained in our threat or our virus. And the network packet contains two parts, the header and the payload. And what we're now able to do with deep packet inspection is actually do analytics on that payload, looking for viruses that will be contained there. So we get earlier detection, earlier prevention, giving you a more secure environment. We then added host firewall protection. And what this does is it allows us to essentially apply the same firewall rules that we have for our virtualized environment on that host which is running the VMs, so that we can have a consistent and unified set of firewall rules and policies. Now there is one major limitation that we need to point out as part of this. We are only able to protect the network adapters on that Hyper-V host, which 5.9 Cloud Security has management access to. So essentially these are going to be the network adapters which are connected to the 5.9 virtual switch. Now assuming that they are, which in most cases most customers will do that, we'll make sure that we give you that unified solution. We've done a lot of enhancements around automated and scheduling rules as well. So you could turn firewall rules on or off based on certain times of day. For example, you may need to do a maintenance task on a Sunday evening that does a backup and requires a different protocol. Well, if you need to do that only for a couple hours in a week, we want to give you that automation to control to enable your firewall to accept it during those peak hours, but then have that additional protection throughout the rest of the week. We've added IP address matching, ensuring that you're connecting to the right source or destination server. Flexible frame size, giving us more control, more granularity, making sure that we accept only network packets that meet certain requirements. And finally, the ability to migrate security rules. So if you're setting up multiple instances, scaling out your data center, or maybe even configuring a new set of service offerings for a self-service provider, you can just take existing firewall rules, copy them, and then import them into a new system. Our next set of key functionality is around antivirus enhancements, with the biggest improvement we've made adding support for a third offering with Bitdefender. Now, the way that Five9 works with all of our antivirus partners is we are essentially using their antivirus engine and their antivirus signatures, but optimizing it for Hyper-V using our interface. So with Bitdefender, we continue to have a unified installer. So regardless of whether you're using Kaspersky Lab, ThreatTrack, or Bitdefender, it's easy to set up. We also handle all of the licensing for you as well. So when you acquire Five9 from us, you only pay us for one license. We handle all of the support, and on the back end, we pay a royalty to these different antivirus vendors. So it gives you a much easier way to go and manage this, and certainly helps out your accounting and invoicing team as well. But we like Bitdefender a lot because not only are they one of the top-ranked antivirus solutions available on the market, but they're built in Europe as well. So they meet most of the worldwide requirements for compliance when it comes to the area where the software was actually developed in. Now, if you're already an existing Five9 customer using a different offering, a different antivirus vendor, we do also give you a path to go and migrate if you are interested in upgrading to Bitdefender. And you can follow up with us later for more information. After the major improvements we made with Bitdefender, we've also added host antivirus scanning capability. Now, this has actually been in the product for quite a while, I think since about version 5.0, but a lot of people just didn't realize it existed. So now that we've also added the host protection for firewall and for intrusion detection, we want to just remind people that this functionality exists. So even though you can't do active protection on the host, do a live block of inbound packets, we still give you the ability to do ongoing scans, quarantine, and make sure that those hosts remain virus-free as well. We've gone and added a lot of new granular antivirus scanning policies, as you can see from some of the tabs in the screenshot here, but Alex will go through those in more detail in a moment on the demo. And finally, we've introduced a new centralized updating service functionality as well. Now, right now, this is available only with our Kaspersky antivirus version. It's something that we hope to expand in the future, but this essentially functions like Windows Server update services, where instead of having to have all of your hosts connect to the internet to download updates, we could go and centralize them, put them through a single update service, and be able to consume all the updates internally. Our third key section around Five9 Cloud Security is intrusion detection. Now, for those that may not be in the security space, you might be more of a management person here. What intrusion detection does is it basically looks for unusual traffic patterns that could indicate that attacks been happening. You guys might know of a denial of service attack as one of the most common ones, where you have a single endpoint being simultaneously accessed and frequently accessed by lots and lots of individual endpoints. And so that implies that there's a specific type of attack happening. Now, Cisco Snort is the leading organization that does all of the analytics and the heuristics around intrusion detection. They have a big database, and we've been using Cisco Snort for a while. But in the past releases, we have gone and upgraded our license with them to Cisco Snort for Business, and we hand that to all of our customers at no additional cost. Now, the difference with Cisco Snort for Business is you get all of the updates faster. So anytime there's a new type of threat that's been identified, you can get that update within an hour. With the free edition of Cisco Snort, you may have to wait for up to a month to go and get this new definition. So what we're really trying to do here is enable these enterprises to get this real-time updating for all the latest threats that are available. And again, all of this is now included as part of a free upgrade. With Cisco Snort, we've also introduced centralized update service, similar to what we're doing with Kaspersky, where you can have a local proxy server taking all the updates and go and consume it from there. The third enhancement that we've added around intrusion detection is protection for our physical networks. Now, this has the same restriction which we had with our firewall, where the actual network interface has to be connected to 5.9 so that we can go and manage it. But assuming that it is, what we're able to do here is go and take a look at all of the traffic that's going to the physical host, do our analytics on that, and let you know if the physical host may be attacked as well. Now, one of the other major investments we've made with 5.9 Cloud Security is around this network traffic anomalies. What we've essentially realized here is that using just Cisco Snort is great, but Cisco Snort's an all-purpose solution, and different customers have different traffic patterns in their data center. We know, for example, that certain customers that are doing development tasks are going to have a very different traffic pattern than a customer that might be building a website or being a hoster. So with this in mind, we introduced our own custom analytics, and we're essentially going to go build up a baseline of normal data center traffic based on the protocol, based on times, based on users. And if we notice extreme deviations from that, we're going to go and alert you and say that something unusual is happening in your environment. And we're actually able to go and fully customize these alert thresholds as well. Now, as an example, if you take a look at the screenshot on the lower left here, we can see that usually I get this many packets in. 6 packets in is my standard over the entire operating life of my environment in this 1-hour period. And now I'm getting an average of 600 during the same period. So that's a 100x multiplier. Now, if I see something unusual like that, to me, that indicates that there's something odd happening or a developer's changed their code. But it's certainly something that I want to go and triage and go and investigate. So we give you a nice way to do this with filtering and also with visualized diagrams. Probably my favorite enhancement that we've added as part of this last release, probably the most important one, is default virtual machine security. What this does is it allows us to have automatic and immediate protection for any newly deployed virtual machine. So what this means is as soon as you create a new virtual machine on a host which is managed by 5.9, that VM will be placed into a default security group, and we'll have default policies applied to it for firewall, intrusion detection, network scanning, and network anomalies. So this means that as soon as this VM's up and running, it's immediately protected. You don't need to go and install an additional security agent or run scripts or log in and configure the firewall. It is instantly protected. So if you have a dynamic environment, you have end users that are non-technical or may not care about security, you're going to want this feature to ensure that everything in your whole data center is protected. Now, as part of our whole goal of collaborating, being a key piece of the Microsoft ecosystem, 5.9 Cloud Security is also available as a plugin for System Center VMM. System Center VMM allows you to centrally manage all of your virtualized resources, and we figure that you'd want to do the same with your virtual security. So we have a plugin that gives you the same management capabilities as our traditional console. Additionally, we're supporting Windows Azure Pack. And Windows Azure Pack is a set of Azure-like services, like Microsoft's public cloud services, that run in your data center on your hardware. It's essentially the productized version of Microsoft Azure. And the reason why customers are using this to have this great self-service capability is they have better control over where the data lives and where it's managed. So for example, you might be living in a country such as Germany that does not have their own Azure data center within the border. Not a problem anymore. A local hosting or service provider can set up their own local instance of Azure within Germany and ensure that all of the data stays within the geographic borders of the country. Now, as part of that, we've gone and added a plugin to Azure Pack as well, providing the only security as a service solution. Using this, our end customers can go to a website, and from the website do single click to turn on firewall, antivirus, intrusion detection, network scanning across all of their VMs. So this means that all of your users never even have to log into each of their individual VMs. They can manage everything through a website, and nothing ever has to be required to run inside the VM itself. With that, I'm going to go and turn this over to Alex, and he's going to walk us through a demo and show us some of these key capabilities in a little more detail. All right, Alex, I can see your screen. Go ahead.
Thank you, Simon. So as we are just talking about optimizations that we've implemented within our products, I'm going to be focusing on the latest enhancements in just view within the interface. So as Simon mentioned, one of the major enhancements that we've implemented in Final Cloud Security compared to previous releases is related to a way easier view of security events that were happening within your system. And for that part, we've implemented the centralized notification section that shows you all the security events that were happening and that are currently happening because this is dynamic. So that means that instead of going inside each virtual machine or going through alerts exclusively via email, you can now go and check notification section, and that's going to tell you if you ever had antivirus alerts or intrusion detection alerts within last few hours, right, when you were not checking the console. So this is a great enhancement and definitely makes your life in security monitoring so much easier with Final Cloud Security Console, and definitely by itself, if you're using any previous version of Final Cloud Security, it's definitely worth itself to upgrade to the latest version. By the way, as a reminder, you know that our license includes all the upgrades, so this is absolutely free of charge for you. So as of other capabilities that we've added in terms of easier management of your interface, we've added also log filtering. So right now when you load your log, for example, for Firewall, right, you can go and enable filter and even specify specific action, like picking up a source address that you're particularly interested in or type of traffic that you want to examine. So previously you had to go through the entire log, right, to probably set up some notifications and work with database to make it easier. But for now, we just made it a native part of our interface, and Final Cloud Security gives you very easy access and analytics to what you need to be seeing within your security events and between your filtering events. So that definitely makes your life easier, and if you use an older version that does include it, it definitely is going to help you a lot. Also, we've incorporated several security measures to make sure that components are actively running and that integrity of these components is safe. So first thing that you may be missing if you use older version of Final Cloud Security is the host state monitoring. So this is the way to quickly review all the statuses of host service, antivirus service, change block tracking service, and status of filtering extension on each Hyper-V host. This is definitely making your life so much easier when you go and quickly check if services are up and running. Of course, they're self-starting, so they're very robust, but this is something that gives you extra peace of mind, and therefore you can make sure that they're really operating correctly. Also, we've added the way to create a rule that is going to include the extra parameters like time framing, right? So as Simon mentioned, so you can specify the rule that it's including the time frame difference. So if you want services to be available only throughout certain period, so even if you want to limit access to Final Cloud Security Management Service, if there is any reason for that, right? For example, you can do this when running that inside a virtual machine. You can also use that to make sure that your VDI system is being used correctly, right? So it's being used only throughout work days and throughout work hours. So that is also something that can ensure consistency, and that is reducing your attack surface. Also, when you configure virtual machine settings, you can configure the integrity packet check. So every single packet that's being sent to and from this virtual machine can be checked for integrity, therefore avoiding the possibility of this traffic being spoofed. So this is extra security measure that can help you check that and make sure that no altered packets get into the system. That really levels up your protection, and that's going to help you analyze any single sensitive virtual machine way deeper. Also, from speaking about integrity, we've added the new type of job in antivirus section. So if you, use active protection services inside your virtual machines that we call active protection agents, right now you can make sure that no one with administrative permissions could really change the code, just alter the current configuration. So for that, we've added the active protection integrity control. So whenever you launch this job, you can make sure that all active protection agents remain exactly the same as we put them in there. So this is, these are several layers of, getting more confidence about your protection level and making sure that integrity control of your system is being maintained very, very high. Also, as Symon mentioned, we've added the deep packet inspection on our firewall portion of the product. So this is indeed a great way to make sure that you analyze every single packet flying on HTTP or DNS traffic, so that really may be potentially harmful. So that there's multiple DNS servers that may be harmful, and they really make easy to spoof traffic and mislead a user right to a malicious site. So you may want to restrict that access, and this is where you can do this now. Also, you can block, for example, specific requests to HTTP sites, right? So you can just go and put in a block rule for site like Google, right? But just which has 00 instead of 00, and that is the way users sometimes may think that this is a trusted site while it's not. So of course even browsers fight with that a lot, but this is giving you extra capability of actually controlling that, and you can deeply analyze every single packet going to the server and make sure that it's not trying to download the page from such a website. So this is definitely a great enhancement. It's appeared as 7.1 version of Final Cloud Security, so the latest version that's currently available on the website. As of the host level protection and intrusion detection system for host level, this is also appeared in version 7.0, brand new. So right now you can even enable firewall per physical network adapter. One thing that's really important to consider, this physical network adapter has to be connected to a virtual switch to make that filtering happen. And if you want to perform a test right now, you can even perform the test firewall settings. That's going to enable configuration for 3 minutes. In case any services get blocked, you can just revive the control back on and make sure that operates correctly. As of antivirus enhancements, that definitely going to make a big difference. So you know that currently we have Bitdefender engine that's available. So if you're using other version, other engine, there is upgrade path. If you're planning to renew your subscription, that's going to be probably the easiest way for you to switch an engine. If you're currently running the product, and we're still offering the way for you to switch to another license. And that is a great option. If you have any preference there, you definitely can use that. So as of policies that got added into the product, that definitely add you extra level of granularity control. So previously you could configure antivirus settings and then they were distributed to all the virtual machines. That was a great way of doing that altogether, but sometimes to figure out that you would need to have this granularity and choose specific virtual machines for a bit higher active protection level, for example, right? So or for different exclusions. So with Final Cloud Security, this is now possible. By installing the latest version, you get this policies approach that can allow you to select specific virtual machines and therefore apply policies to these virtual machines only. So this is great way to keep control of all your virtual machines protection levels and making sure that you adjust configuration exactly the way you need for specific virtual machine sets. And probably just two more things that I would like to show and demonstrate within the product interface. So one of them is absolutely great functionality that we added that's related to default virtual machine security. So as Simon mentioned, this is the way to quickly ensure that your virtual machine gets all the security layers enabled automatically whenever it's get created. And in the virtualized world, this is definitely super important because you can't really, go and enable security for every single newly created virtual machine, all the time. You need to make sure that even if someone else creates a new virtual machine, that's automatically protected and added to kind of a sandbox. So default virtual machine security is as easy as just enabling firewall configuration, for example, transaction system, network traffic scanner, network anomalies, and antivirus for your virtual machines with checkboxes, and you can automatically add every single newly created virtual machine to a security group, so the one that already includes specific sets of rules that allow your virtual machine to operate. So these are enhancements, these are major enhancements and optimization that we've incorporated in the latest versions of our product. So if you're still using a previous version, please upgrade to the latest one. It definitely is going to make your life so much easier and your system so better protected. So with that, I would like to pass my word back to Simon so we can continue our session.
Great, thank you, Alex. In a moment when the interface refreshes, you'll be able to see a comparison of Five9 Cloud Security, how it stacks up to some of the other antivirus solutions on the market, and again, highlighting that our key advantage here is that we do everything agentlessly. So that's going to offload a lot of the management and operational challenges that you will have in a virtualized environment. If you're interested in trying out Five9 Cloud Security, we first encourage you to use the virtual lab. We do have trials, and licensing is consistent with Windows Server licensing, where we have a license per 2 CPUs. But the big advantage with Five9 Cloud Security licensing is we include all of the third-party licensing as part of the bundle. So you come to us and you get your antivirus and intrusion detection subscription as part of the package. We also have a service provider licensing model that charges per virtual machine per month for service provider customers. Let's go ahead and talk about Five9 Manager, which is our centralized and affordable management and monitoring solution for Hyper-V. Now what we've essentially done here is built an interface which kind of fits in between customers that have the inbox tools for Hyper-V that are often spread out, kind of hard to use and understand, and the large, expensive solution with System Center. We're really trying to position ourselves as a more affordable solution for SMBs. We have many of those same features of System Center, but we're about a tenth of the price. And it has an interface that's designed a lot like VMware's vCenter, which makes it easier for VMware users or people that are new to Hyper-V to make the move over to Hyper-V and really understand how to use everything and control it all in a single location. We do have an antivirus edition as well, and we'll talk briefly about the enhancements in that too. The first big enhancement that we put into Five9 Manager was a centralized summary view, giving you a single dashboard interface that tells you about the health across your entire environment in one place. This is going to give you visual indicators and also bubble up all of the latest alerts and alarms you have. And we can even filter this view at the data center level, cluster level, host level, or even down to the individual virtual machine. We also added virtual resource monitoring, which is almost like a mini version of Operations Manager, where we're going to give you real-time and historical data about key metrics for your host and your virtual machines, CPU, memory, disk, and network I/O. Additionally, also monitoring your cluster shared volume disks. With these alerts and these visual indicators, we also put trend lines on them, so you get a high-level analysis of when you may be running out of capacity. We also have historical data that's available in the environment too. And with our historical data, you could go back in time to go take a look at challenges or alerts that may have happened in the past. We've done a lot of improvements around failover cluster management as well. Now in the past, Five9 Manager allowed you to add an existing cluster to the environment. Now we've updated this so that you can actually create and validate your clusters as well, all through our single interface here. So you can run the best practice analyzer, also known as validate, and then do traditional operational tasks within your cluster, such as pausing and resuming nodes, in addition to continuing to support the previous functionality we had, such as deploying VMs to a cluster or adding nodes to a cluster. We've also introduced our own set of capacity planning heuristics as well. And this is going to help you predict when you may run out of space within your environment, taking a look at historical usage patterns and making predictive analytics about the future usage. This will help you optimize your IT planning budget, and it's also customizable, so you can see how frequently it refreshes to give you an update on the analytics. We recently introduced a library that's essentially a file share that's going to contain resources that you frequently use, such as VHDs or virtual machines. This gives you the ability to create a master copy, a virtual machine that has all of the settings configured perfectly, including administrator credentials. What you can then do is take this virtual machine and redeploy it the same way each time, giving you a level of automation and also helping you avoid user errors from misconfiguration. One of my favorite features as well is that you can even take an existing virtual machine that's running and perfectly configured and make a clone of it, create a template of it, and even during that template creation process, run sysprep, which is going to go and clean any uniquely identifying characteristics from that virtual machine, such as a GUID or a name. We've also added a couple other management enhancements in this release as well, with Windows 10 support being generally available, and Windows Server 2016 and Nano Server support currently available in our private beta. If you're interested in evaluating that, please send Alex or myself a note, and we could see whether we can enroll you into the program as soon as possible. But with Windows Server 2016, we're pretty excited about this new version, as it comes with this SKU, or this installation option known as Nano Server, which is a very stripped down version of the Windows operating system. It's about 400 megabytes, takes only seconds to boot, and this OS is going to be able to replace Hyper-V hosts and Hyper-V virtual machines in the future. But the big challenge is there's no graphical user interface on it. There's not even a full command line running inside the virtual machines. You can't even remotely connect to those Nano Server virtual machines. So management has already been identified as one of the key problems with Nano Server. But this is where Five9 is already being proactive in becoming the leading Nano Server management solution on the market, where we're already working directly with the engineering team, and you can see some of our Nano Server management videos already available on Channel 9. We've also added support for SQL Server, allowing you to store more information on larger databases. And since we're doing more historical data and trending and analytics, we wanted to give this capability to our customers instead of using the free built-in database from the previous versions. Now this even supports SQL high availability if you need. And it will also support SQL Express Edition. So you can still get that larger database, but you don't need to go and even acquire a license because the Express Edition is entirely free. We've also improved our task logging, so we get more information about who's doing what and when they've done it to help us with compliance and accountability in the environment. And we've continued to enhance our email notifications so that you can get alerts based on more things, such as capacity planning alerts or other changes that are happening inside the environment. Now, Five9 Manager comes with one bonus edition or advanced edition, the Antivirus edition. And what this is, it's essentially taking the antivirus technology from cloud security and combining it on top of Five9 Manager so that you still get that agentless antivirus, and you have the ability to use Bitdefender, Kaspersky, or ThreatTrack. Now, what's different between the products, though, is that this Antivirus edition does not include intrusion detection. It does not include firewall. It does not include the network scanning and network analytics. It's only that antivirus component for Five9 Cloud Security. And this will only scale to about 20 virtual machines per host. So what we've really tried to do here is provide an easy security solution for SMBs. But if you're a medium to larger size organization, you'll want to use these as separate products. Five9 Manager for the core infrastructure management, and Five9 Cloud Security for your data protection, because that includes more of their features. All right, well, that is the quick quick overview of all the latest enhancements. Hopefully you can see a lot of great things built into the product, and I'll turn it over to Alex. And Alex, you're good to go.
Thank you, Simon. So now we are going to review File Manager enhancements live here in the product, so you can get sense of what exactly is going to bring you when you update to the latest version. So when you update to the latest version of File Manager, and especially if you're using older versions like version 5 or version 6, you would see great enhancements related to functionality, but also to overall overview of your performance and system state. So one of the first things that you see on the screen, right, this is a summary view that you can see on my screen right now. So this is the way to quickly access and analyze all the events that were happening with your system and make sure that none of them were really critical. So in case your host virtual machines or cluster's health is all green, you're good to go. You can pass on to your further tasks. If you see any red segments on the screen, you would just want to go and investigate that. All the alarms can be easily filtered. You can quickly switch the mode from including warnings and notifications to just critical events. So therefore, you can quickly analyze these events and make action steps to fix them and resolve them. Also, the latest releases of File Manager were very big on improving the monitoring part. So File Manager right now is able to monitor way more parameters and for virtual machines and for your Hyper-V hosts. And because of connection to SQL database that we built inside the product that is available for you right now, you can actually keep the data for way longer. So previously, the real retention policy was around 7 days, so you could go back for 7 days and analyze your performance. But right now, that's not that limited anymore. So it only limited by your SQL database size. So if you use SQL Express, that actually gives you quite enough data to analyze if you want to go back several months and analyze what was happening with your system before. Also, just to review that, you just go to tab, and I'm currently on a host level, and you see you can select last month, last hour, and even last year if you want to do so. Also, we've incorporated the cluster share storage and monitoring, so this is also available, and you can check the space level on your cluster shared volumes, which is of course essential for you for consistent operations. So all the performance alerts can be still sent with emails, and you see notifications can be enabled by configure an SMTP server. That is easy as is. You can configure custom criteria like creation of or virtual machine or someone exporting a virtual machine or even replication failure, which is also part of your notification section. And optimize and monitor set is going to tell you, what exactly is happening with your performance, and is going to alert you if CPU consumption, for example, goes beyond warning and critical levels. Also, something new and just that we've added compared to older versions is the way to generate alarms if there is a trend of your performance consistently growing. So that means that your system may be crossing the threshold pretty soon, and therefore we can notify you of that happening before it happens. So this trends analysis are also part of the product right now, and that is going to give you even more peace of mind of analyzing your system performance and operations. This data is also being used with the latest functionality that we've added. That's only appeared in version 9 of File Manager. That's a great functionality that's called capacity planning. So this is the way to optimize your system, and make sure that you place new virtual machines on hosts that actually are the best fit for that. Or you can take some proactive steps and say, okay, I may need to just go and put in more hard drive disk space right on my server. So right here you see we have that specifically configured here. So disk space consumption on node is constantly growing. So trend is going up. It's definitely going to hit this issue. So you see, so currently we don't have the configured, but utilization is definitely high. So this is something that you can utilize to have your further hardware acquisitions, right? So you can use capacitive planning to give you, great idea of where your performance, overall performance is moving. So you just deployed another 20 virtual machines, right? You need to understand if your system is actually, suffering from that or not. What's your trend? So, if you feel that this trend is, going too high, you may need to think about just allocating some extra resources, right? So to get in your hardware or getting in some more memory. So that is definitely a way to, have better control of your system and its overall performance. Also, in latest releases of File Manager, we've added a better support for clusters. So, initially the support was pretty base one, so you could see clusters within File Manager interface. So right now we've expanded that a lot. So you can, pause and resume cluster nodes, so you can perform real-time operations there. You can make virtual machine highly available by just right-clicking on that and hitting Add to Cluster. You see, that easy. Literally 2 clicks and you have your virtual machine clustered. And then making it highly available. So also you can now make sure that your cluster is configured for replication, so you can add Hyper-V Replica Broker. So that's also part of the product, so that is very easy to configure. You can validate the cluster from File Manager interface, and even more, you can even create a cluster now. So you just right-click on a data center node, you create a cluster, and you can specify the nodes you want to include into this cluster creation process. And one last thing I would like to mention here, so if you're especially using the older versions of File Manager, the library concept has been greatly enhanced. So previously we used some kind of stripped version of templates with File Manager, and especially File Manager version 9. So we've enhanced the functionality a lot. I should tell you that we've also optimized the performance of these operations. So right now, you can use the library to store your virtual machine templates, VHD, VHDX files, ISO files, and seamlessly attach them to your existing virtual machines, or just the ones that you are creating at the moment. So library greatly saves you time. It really makes deploying your virtual machines very easy. And with latest release especially, so the performance and stability and functionality of this process has been greatly improved. So if you're using older versions of File Manager, I strongly advise you to perform an upgrade. That definitely is going to give you a better experience. So with that, I would like to pass my word back to Symon.
Thank you, Alex. So what you'll now see is our 5.9 Manager comparison chart. And what this is doing is showing you kind of the core capabilities that we have, comparing us to the inbox tools, and also comparing us to System Center Virtual Machine Manager. And you can see that we provide quite a variety of functionality, even some key pieces which are not available in System Center. And as a reminder, we are approximately 1/10 of the price. So if you are interested in evaluating 5.9 Manager, first check out the virtual lab that we have, download our trial, and we do licensing the same way, consistent with Windows Server and System Center, where it's per 2 CPUs. Finally, we'll give a brief update on our V2V Easy Converter. This is a utility which is used to migrate VMware virtual machines over to Hyper-V. It's a standalone tool, does not require any dedicated hardware, and covers every Windows guest operating system, which is supported by Hyper-V, in addition to all of the Linux and Unix distributions as well. Here's a quick overview of what we're able to do, comparing that to other solutions. But really our key differentiators are giving you the ability to migrate Unix, giving you the ability to edit the VM conversions on the fly, and also migrating directly to a Hyper-V cluster. We use PowerShell for automation for large-scale migrations. If you're interested, you could download the free version. There are no limits on the number of migrations with that, and if you're interested in the full version, that's the version that includes PowerShell support and migration to a cluster. With that, we're going to conclude this presentation shortly. And as we wrap it up now, we have a couple of questions that have come through. So, Alex, this first question that I have here is for you. I think we've touched on this a couple times already, but it's really good to kind of emphasize this point. And the question is, how exactly do we handle the licensing with these antivirus and intrusion detection vendors? Would you mind covering that?
Sure, yeah. So as of antivirus licenses, they are completely incorporated into the product. So no need for you to go to any vendor, including ThreatTrack, Kaspersky, or Bitdefender. So if you get Final Cloud Security, if you install it out, we incorporate the license automatically. No need for you to go to them or pay anything extra. As of intrusion detection system, that's great as well. So previously we were using free version of Cisco Snort, and that was absolutely free, right? So free for use, but you had some delay on downloading the signatures, right, and installing that manually. So right now we have incorporated the Cisco Snort for Business, so that allows us to install that automatically for you. Therefore, you don't have to just worry about that at all anymore. And if you incorporate the license, no need for you to go and just get it for anything from Cisco. You have it built in, and nothing extra you have to pay for that. So we handle the updates, we handle the license for you, for antivirus and for intrusion detection system, for everything.
Thanks, Alex. We have one more question that came in, and I'll go ahead and take this one. Do we have any plans or strategy to support either Microsoft Azure, the public cloud, or the upcoming Microsoft Azure Stack? So the answer to both of those is yes. Both of those are actively under development. So with our Azure solution, what we're intending on building is a virtual appliance that runs up in the Azure public cloud. And this is going to give you the ability to use your on-premise 5.9 cloud security or the cloud-based one to go and configure your policies and make sure that there's consistency in protection. Because we're finding a lot more customers now are deploying hybrid solutions where they may have their back-end database running in their data center and they may have their front-end websites running on a public cloud like Azure. So now, since we can protect at both endpoints, we can protect the VMs running in the public cloud and also on-premise with 5.9 cloud security, we could give an end-to-end universal solution. And we hope to release that sometime summer 2016. Now, the next question was about Microsoft Azure Stack. And just for a little bit of context on the question here, Azure Stack is the next iteration of Azure Pack. So I mentioned a little earlier that we support Azure Pack as the on-premise version of Microsoft Azure that lets you run Azure services in your data center on your hardware. Well, Microsoft Azure Stack is the next iteration of this. It's the same concept, allowing you to run Azure in your data center. There's just been some re-engineering to the code, which removes some of the dependencies, like on System Center. The answer to that one is absolutely. As we are the leading, and in fact the only security solution for Azure Pack, the one that's out today, we are absolutely fully committed to being available for the Azure Stack once that comes out sometime later in 2016. Well, with that, we appreciate everybody's time. There's been a lot of great questions and discussion. Yeah, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, so sorry for that. I think we just got in one more question here. On upgrade process, if you don't mind, I'll take it. So, if you have Final Manager and a plus Bitdefender, so, what is the process to upgrade to cloud security? So you can run Final Manager standalone and Final Cloud Security at the same time, but Final Manager with antivirus and Final Cloud Security won't work together because, antivirus services, obviously are the same, so they would get in conflict. But there is upgrade path. So if you want to upgrade from Final Manager with antivirus to Final Manager with Final Cloud Security, we do have that upgrade path. It's actually very simple. You'll upgrade to Final Cloud Security with Bitdefender, and if you're still thinking of whether you need to do this, that's definitely worth it. It adds you multiple layers of security protection if you really care about the security level. So with that, feel free to contact us. We'll also make sure that we proactively reach out to you and follow up with upgrade steps for that.
Great. Thanks a lot, Alex. And thank you, everybody, for all the questions as well. With that, I certainly hope that you learned about all of the latest enhancements we provided in the product, as we really want to encourage you to upgrade as soon as possible. If you have any further questions, please contact your sales representative. Email sales@five9.com, Symon@five9.com, or amk@five9.com to get in contact with Alex. We'll also be posting this recording online and sending out a follow-up email with links over the next couple of days. With that, we thank you all for attending and wish you a great day. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.